Chapter 1, Grease Monkey in a Suit. I've had oil under my nails more days than not, and I wouldn't trade it for all the cufflinks in the world. Some people chase titles and boardroom applause. I chase precision. The clean tick of a torqued bolt, the smooth rumble of an engine I just revived. That's my applause. That's my pride. I watched my dad fix cars with nothing more than grit, a socket wrench, and stubbornness. It was magic. So I followed in his steps. Trade school, certifications, long nights, until I opened my own little garage on the edge of town. It's not shiny. It's not glamorous. But it's honest. It's real. And it's mine. Phony, my fiancée at the time, was everything I wasn't. Sharp, elegant, always perfectly put together. She worked in corporate marketing and thrived in sleek office towers with polished floors and soft-spoken power lunches. But despite our differences, I believed we understood each other. She'd always told me she loved how passionate I was about my work. That my hands, stained with grease but steady and skilled, were something she admired. So when she invited me to her company's holiday party, I didn't hesitate, even though I knew I'd be out of my element. She was excited. "I want you to meet everyone," she said. "Let them see the man I'm so proud of." I rented a suit, combed back my hair, and did my best to blend in. The venue was exactly what I expected. Marble floors, champagne towers, laughter that sounded more rehearsed than real. Phony fit in like crystal among glass. I stayed close to her side, quietly observing, sipping slowly. I kept telling myself, "You're here for her, not for them." It was about an hour in when she pulled me over to a group of her colleagues. They were laughing about quarterly projections or influencer campaigns or something equally foreign to me. One of them, tie too tight, smile too perfect, asked, "So what do you do?" I smiled and answered simply, "I run a small auto repair shop." But before he could reply, Phony jumped in. "Isn't that cute?" she said with a light laugh, clinging to my arm. "He's like a modern-day grease monkey." There was a pause. Then the group erupted in laughter. I stood there, frozen. Grease monkey. I'd heard the term before. Mechanics do. But never from her. And not like that. Not with that sparkle in her eye that said, "Look how charming it is that I'm slumming it." I turned to her, hoping I'd misunderstood. She waved it off with a chuckle. "It's just a joke, babe. Don't be so serious." And just like that they moved on. But I didn't. I stood there, surrounded by high heels and expensive cologne, trying to swallow the taste of humiliation. My job, my passion, had just become the evening's entertainment. I tried to play along. I smiled through tight lips. I nodded as someone offered me a drink I didn't want. But inside something cracked. Something deep. Because for the first time I started to wonder, was this how she'd always seen me? Not as an equal. Not even as a man. Just as a novelty, a punchline with calloused hands. And that question, quiet and cutting, refused to go away. Chapter 2, The Toast That Told the Truth. I tried to shake it off. Told myself I was being sensitive. That maybe Phony didn't mean it that way. That I should just laugh along and not let pride get the better of me. But her words, that little laugh, the way everyone looked at me after, it stuck. I stood through conversations I wasn't part of, nodding when I should have spoken, sipping champagne that tasted like ash. Then the music softened, and a colleague of Phony's tapped a glass to signal a toast. Phony stood, smiling, her posture flawless, holding her wine glass like a queen addressing her court. "First of all," she began, "I want to thank my amazing team for making this year such a success. You all make the impossible look easy." Polite applause. I smiled. That's the woman I loved, confident, charming, in control. But then she turned toward me. "And I also want to thank my fiancé," she said, pausing for effect. "He's not exactly a corporate guy, but he's great with his hands. So if anyone's car breaks down in the parking lot tonight, he's your man." Laughter. Louder than before. Real belly laughs. I felt dozens of eyes turning toward me, not with admiration, not with curiosity, but with amusement. Like I was some quirky accessory she brought along for entertainment. Her little grease-stained sideshow. I sat there, smiling too tightly, heart hammering in my chest. She looked so pleased with herself. Like she'd scored a punchline on stage. She raised her glass toward me, eyes sparkling. I raised mine back, hand trembling slightly. That was the moment I stopped seeing her as the woman I planned to marry. I saw her for what she really was. Someone who wanted the idea of me, the convenient, blue-collar contrast to her clean, polished world. But she didn't respect me. That wasn't just a slip. It was a performance. She'd rehearsed that line. She waited for the laughter. She needed it. And it cost me something I couldn't take back. After the toast, the music picked up again and people returned to their conversations. But I couldn't. I stood up, quietly pushed in my chair and walked out of the ballroom. No one followed. The air outside was cold and sharp and I welcomed it like a slap to the face. I leaned against a marble pillar and stared out at the city skyline. So many lights. So much noise. I thought about all the times I'd gone to her events, supported her through presentations, listened to her vent about clients I couldn't even picture. I'd celebrated every win like it was my own. I thought we were building something together. But tonight she turned me into a punchline and stood there basking in the spotlight. That's when I realized I wasn't just hurt. I was starting to feel something else. Done. Chapter 3. The line I wouldn't let her cross. It didn't take long before I heard the clack of heels approaching. Phony stepped outside, her wine glass still half full, her expression light and careless, like nothing had happened. "There you are," she said with a smile. "Why'd you run off like that?" I turned slowly, trying to keep my voice even. "Do you have any idea how embarrassing that was?" She blinked. "What are you talking about?" "The toast," I said. "The way you made me sound like some kind of novelty act. Like I'm a handyman you keep around for convenience." Her brows lifted and she let out a soft laugh. "Oh, come on. It was just a joke. Everyone loved it." I stared at her and for a moment, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She really thought this was no big deal. Like public humiliation could be brushed off with a smile and a glass of wine. "I didn't love it," I said quietly. "And it's not the first time, Phony. You've made little comments before. At dinners. With friends. You laugh off what I do like it's some side gig I'll grow out of." Her smile faded. "You're overreacting." I felt my fists clench, not in anger but to steady myself. "No, I'm finally reacting," I said. "You say you admire me, that you respect me. But respect doesn't look like that. Respect doesn't laugh at me in a room full of strangers." She scoffed and folded her arms. "If you can't handle a little teasing, maybe you're the one with the problem." And there it was. The mask slipping. The sweet charm replaced with something sharper, meaner. Her words didn't just sting. They confirmed what deep down I already knew. I was never an equal in her eyes. I looked at her, really looked, and I saw a woman who loved the idea of being with someone different. It made her feel grounded, quirky, relatable. But only as long as I stayed in my place, quiet, grateful beneath her. I took a breath and felt something shift inside me. "Phony," I said, "I can't do this anymore." Her eyes widened. "What are you talking about?" "This relationship," I replied. "It's over." She let out a nervous laugh. "You're serious? You're going to throw everything away over a toast?" I shook my head. "No. I'm walking away because of everything that led to it. Because you don't respect what I do. And if you can't respect my work, you can't respect me." Her face twisted into disbelief. "Wow. You really think fixing cars makes you some kind of saint?" "No," I said, pulling the engagement ring from my finger and placing it gently into her hand. "But it makes me a man who knows his worth. And I won't spend my life with someone who doesn't." I turned and started walking back toward the building. She didn't follow. And as the ballroom lights came back into view, so did something else. The weight I'd been carrying for months, maybe years, finally beginning to lift. The joke wasn't on me anymore. It was on her, for never realizing what she had until I was already gone. Chapter 4. The truth has a way of spreading. When I stepped back into the ballroom, the music was still playing, and no one had noticed I was gone, at least not yet. I walked straight to our table, picked up my coat, and didn't rush. I didn't have to. I had made my decision, and for once I wasn't doubting myself. Then I heard her heels behind me again. "Wait," Phony hissed, catching up, her voice low and urgent. "You're really going to make a scene? Right now?" I turned to her, calm and steady. "You already made the scene. I'm just leaving it." People had started to notice. A few heads turned. Whispers passed like static along the edge of the room. I didn't care. "You're blowing this way out of proportion," she snapped, trying to smile through gritted teeth. "We can talk about this later. Privately." "No," I said. "This isn't something we can talk out. This is who you are." She looked at me like I was a stranger. And maybe I was, to her. Maybe I always had been. "I supported you," I continued, my voice still low but firm. "I celebrated every step you took. Every promotion, every campaign. I never made fun of what you do, not once. But you couldn't offer me the same respect. Not even when the whole room was watching." Her eyes darted around, scanning for damage. She was worried now, about appearances, about whispers, about how the story would spread. But she wasn't worried about me. Not about how I felt. Not about what she'd done. Just the optics. So I walked out this time for good. The night air felt different. Cleaner. Like I could finally breathe. I didn't look back, not even once. The drive home was quiet. No music. No calls. Just silence, and for the first time in a long while, it didn't feel lonely. It felt honest. Over the next few days, the fallout began. Our mutual friends started messaging. Some curious. Some pretending to be concerned. Others just looking for drama. Apparently, Phony had wasted no time spinning the story. In a group chat she wrote, "He totally overreacted. I was joking. He's just insecure. Who ends an engagement over a toast?" I didn't reply. I didn't defend. Let her say what she wanted. But then one friend sent me screenshots of her posts, public ones. She called me controlling, overly sensitive. Said she dodged a bullet. That's when I decided to speak. I reached out to the people who mattered, those who were at the party who had laughed. I didn't yell. I didn't rant. I just told the truth. About the jokes, the jabs, the disrespect that had built up over time. About the moment she made me feel like a clown at my own engagement. Most listened. Some apologized. A few admitted they'd always felt something was off. One of her coworkers, someone I barely knew, messaged me privately. "I never liked how she talked about you. She made it sound like she was settling. Like you were this fixer-upper project." That hit me harder than I expected. But it also gave me something I hadn't had that night, validation. And just when I thought the dust had settled, the phone rang. It was her boss. Chapter 5, The Man She Never Understood. Her boss didn't say much, just that there had been concerns. Apparently, the gossip from the party had reached upper management. Clients had heard things. Team members were uncomfortable. They wanted to hear directly from me what had happened that night. I kept it simple. I told the truth. I described the toast, the mocking tone, the public belittling, and the way Phony had laughed like my career was the punchline of her performance. He thanked me for my honesty and said it would be handled internally. I didn't ask for more. I didn't need it. A few weeks later, I heard, through mutual friends of course, that Phony had been passed over for the promotion she'd been gunning for. The one she couldn't stop talking about. No one said why exactly. But sometimes your words catch up with you, especially when you deliver them into a microphone. I didn't celebrate. I didn't gloat. But I also didn't feel sorry. Because while she was scrambling to protect her image, I was finally reclaiming mine. I threw myself back into the garage. The hum of machinery, the smell of rubber and grease, it grounded me. I upgraded some of my tools. Took on a few apprentices. Started offering weekend classes to teens who wanted to learn real skills with their hands. I never thought I'd be the kind of guy to teach. But something about it felt right. I was building something more than engines. I was building pride. Confidence. Worth. And no one could take that from me again. The engagement ring? I sold it. Used the money to book a week-long trip down the Pacific coast. Just me, an old rebuilt motorcycle, and the open road. I rode through cliffs and coastlines, stopping wherever I wanted, sleeping under stars, breathing in salt air and silence. Each mile stretched the distance between who I was with her and who I was becoming without her. Looking back now, I know the breakup wasn't about that one toast. It wasn't even about that night. It was about the truth that toast revealed. Phony didn't really see me. She saw a man she could brag about for being different, then laugh at when the room got quiet. She loved how I made her seem grounded, but she never loved me in my own right. Not the way I needed. And if there's one thing I've learned, it's this. Love without respect isn't love. It's performance. So if you ever find yourself in a relationship where you feel small, feel like a joke, feel like your voice disappears just so someone else can shine louder, walk away. Because the right person won't laugh at your life. They'll stand in the crowd, raise a glass and say, "That man is everything I admire."